Well, Joachim Bitterlich is a former German ambassador to NATO. Thank you so much for being with us today. Do you see this as a serious strategic American retreat from Europe or political posturing? This is, what, 5,000 troops out of some 36,000?
Well, it has been foreseen to reduce the American troops in Germany, and therefore it's not a surprise. Perhaps the moment now published, or let's say communicated by Donald Trump as a sort, let's say, of answer. Let's call it answer, first answer. Some people may call it vengeance of Donald Trump against Friedrich Merz, who has been criticizing a bit the American intervention in Iran, especially with regard to, let's say, the strategy. Not to the basics, but to the strategy at the end of the day. But it's, let's say, it was foreseen, and these American troops will leave, by the way, Italy and Spain too, in Europe. And it has, when you look at the new strategy of the American administration, it's clear they will reduce their presence in Europe, and they are waiting for the Europeans to taking more responsibility for their defense.
What effect could that have with cuts across Europe? Will that weaken NATO deterrence?
Well, it's clear. The Europeans have to take up more responsibility, and in the sense of a strategic autonomy of the Europeans, I think we are on track towards, let's say, improving our capabilities in Europe. It's clear, especially with regards to Germany, because Germany has been, let's say, underfinancing its army during more than 20 years, in the sense of, let's say, this strange belief in the eternal peace on European soil. We have a war on European soil since 22 in Ukraine, and therefore the Germans are waking up, but this needs a certain time to rearm Germany and to get again, let's say, an army which is able to fulfill its tasking.
And, Mr. Ambassador, what kind of practical change would this mean for Germany? How can it adjust to cover the functions currently performed by American forces in Germany? How would it affect those communities, and what would a serious German response look like in terms of increased defence spending, perhaps?
The Germans will have to look with their European allies, together with the British, with the French, probably with the Italians, and the Spaniards and Poland, and probably with Scandinavian countries, what should be, let's say, the taskings within NATO defense that the Europeans could easily, or in the next years, take over from the Americans. And I think it's a normal step towards a European defense, but it's not a step forward to replace NATO at the end of the day. No, it will be another NATO, a new NATO if you want, but we will see probably, let's say, in 3-5 years existing, where the Europeans take a serious role within it, and the Germans will have to do this with their European allies, especially with the French, with Poland. And even today we see first steps towards this. For example, the German Air Force is participating in the defense of the eastern airspace in NATO. Germany is building up a whole brigade in Lithuania. It's something new, never seen before in Germany. And don't forget, the Germans have elaborated for the first time since the existence of the Federal Republic a real military strategy. It's a new paper since April now, public, partly public, let's take it like this, partly public, and it's a new step in order to underline that the Germans are taking seriously their responsibility within NATO and with regard to Europe and their European.
Indeed. So, very grateful for your insights today, Joachim Bitterlich, a former German ambassador to NATO. Thank you very much indeed.